What's going on, everybody? Mike McIntyre here, back from All Things Sports, bringing you another brand new video. Today I'm super pumped to bring you the latest release from Adidas in their F50 Elite football boot release. So let's get into this brand new unboxing on feet and review. Before we begin, you guys know the drill. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, take care of those three things. Watch the entire video, that always helps with the YouTube algorithm, and let's get into this unboxing and review. Alright guys, so let's get into it. I'm super pumped to bring you the latest release of the Adidas F50 Elite. This is part of their brand new Pure Victory pack, which I think looks absolutely outstanding. We got the brand new Adidas Copa Pure 3 in that pack, the new F50, and of course the latest generation of the Adidas Predator 25. This is part of the Pure Victory pack, they're calling it. It's in white, core black, solar yellow. There's some red on here. I honestly think these look fantastic. In the box, you get a very simple box here. It's the new sort of Adidas football branding. Black box with the Adidas Performance logo in this sort of gloss finish. Adidas football on one side. Let's lift the box. Open, you get an extra pair of insoles. This is classic F50. This is what they did years ago, where you get a lightweight pair of insoles and a more comfortable pair of insoles. So these ones are the comfort ones. You get an F50 branded string bag because it's the top of the line model, which is quite nice. So again, it's that sort of that solar yellow F50 branding, and on the back it says F50 as well. So here's boot number one. So we have a few different interesting features on this F50 that we'll talk about. We'll go over the upper and the tech specs. We'll talk about that. We'll head on over to the turf afterward to talk about fit and feel. Here we have the latest release of the Adidas F50 Elite, and honestly, this is one of my favorite, if not my top of the line speed boots on the market. It's super lightweight, a very, very thin upper. We'll talk about that in a second. And I just think that they've really done a very unique job with this colorway. They've thrown it back to the classic F50 graphics, which I think have been very, very popular amongst all football boot fans. The upper here is what they call sprint web. So it's a sprint web technology forming the base of the upper. It's a synthetic upper, but it is super, super thin, and it's really giving the boot that lightweight sort of unique design. It's not the most flexible. In other words, it will crease in certain areas depending on how you, flex and move the upper about. It's not like a leather upper, which will sort of just be super plush and dimple depending on where you put pressure on it. This one does have a little bit more of that sort of textile feel to it, but it is super thin. So the sprint web is forming the majority of the upper, and I have felt synthetic uppers that are much more dense or just rough than this one. This one is super thin, but relatively soft, and does fit the foot quite well overall for such a thin material and for the type of material that it is. So in addition to that, you have this fiber touch that they're calling. It's like this texture that they put on top of the upper here, and they've sort of integrated that into the graphics on the boot. So you now have like these little ridges. It's not grippy. It's not like the Predator element where you're getting this sort of rubber grip on it. It's just texture, and in some ways it actually reminds me of the original Nike Phantom, what did they call it back then? The Phantom GT, where they had this kind of texturing on the upper that will just provide you a little bit of grip. It just feels almost like a sandpaper is actually the best way to describe it. You have the sprint frame making up the sole plate, external heel counter, which does tend to be my preference. The studs are mostly bladed, to be honest. I prefer conical, but you do get more of a bladed shape here in the heel. You get one or two conical studs here, and then these sort of bladed studs in the forefoot area. Again, the idea being that these are a speed boot trying to accelerate forward, and the stud pattern does sort of reflect that. But overall, I do think this is an excellent, excellent sole plate. My preference would be to have conical studs, but the overall shape, placement, the reinforcements through the spine of the sole plate are excellent, and this is a very, very popular sole plate. One of my favorites, to be honest. And again, Adidas is doing a really good job with their heels right now. I really like the way they cut their heel. Plenty of padding on this F50 in the heel, more so than the Copa Pure, and I'm just a really big fan of that. The tongue is very, very thin, and again, it kind of follows this sprint web design where it's separate from the upper, but it is attached to the base of the boot on the inside. So it won't necessarily fall left or right on you. It's going to stay centered because on the inside of the boot, the tongue is attached down here and it wraps the inside here, even though it is separate from the upper itself. So still sort of giving you that upper, that one-piece upper, but because the tongue is detached, it does make it a little bit easier to get on. And I really do like the way this fits because of how thin that tongue material is. So let's send it over the turf to talk about fit and feel. So slipping the boot on feet for the very first time, the Adidas F50 feels honestly like the best speed boot on the market at the moment. It fits my relatively wide foot quite well for a speed boot. I always struggle to get into something like the Mercurial, and honestly the thing you notice right away is how thin that upper is. The one-piece tongue is appropriately branded. They call it the compression fit. It really does wrap your midfoot really, really snugly, but it's not to the point where it's harsh or uncomfortable. And again, given my wide foot, this is probably the best fitting speed boot on the market. There's no dead space throughout the upper. I really like how thin the upper feels. And again, with Adidas, they are very, very consistent with their sizing. I'd strongly recommend going true to size if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself. The things to note are that it's very, very thin. It fits a variety of foot types very, very well. And it just gives you that confidence to sort of take people on when you have the ball at your feet. There's something very unique about how thin this upper feels, how the sort of tongue interacts with the upper material. And it just fits really, really well on foot. So I'm very, very impressed with this. Again, true to size if you're interested in these for yourself. I really, really like the way this fits overall. Good for a variety of different foot types, and I just think this might be the very best speed boot that's on the market at the moment. So if you're interested in a pair, I'd strongly suggest checking out the F50 if speed boots are what you're interested in. So let's send it back to the desk so we can wrap this video up. So there you have it, guys. There's my review, unboxing, and on-feet look at the brand new Adidas F50. I'm a really big fan of the colorway. I'm a really big fan of this upper material and the fiber touch that they've integrated into the upper. If you're interested in a speed boot, I think you really should take a look at the Adidas F50. In my opinion, it might just be the best speed boot that is out there today. Very thin upper, unbelievably comfortable fit for the type of upper that it is. Again, it offers a unique fit for a variety of different foot types, and I'm just a really big fan of it overall, and I think it looks really, really good in this colorway. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I always get an answer out to you. Mike McIntyre, all things sports. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Peace.